Hello, so I am so far out of my comfort zone right now. I never thought in a million years I'd do a vlog, but I was going to plan and have this whole kind of theme thing going on. But then something happened on Twitter last night and I thought, oh, I might respond to that. And I think my response is probably going to take a lot more than the characters allow me to on Twitter. So yes, so my book, The 27 Club, it is obviously, from its title, it is about rock stars who sadly, tragically passed away aged 27, far too young. And The 27 Club is it's what the media came up with, really, because Kurt Cobain, Brian Jones, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison later on as well, of course, Amy Winehouse, they all passed away aged 27, and there was always lots of talk about drink and drugs, and I just thought it was a really interesting kind of topic to explore, because I'm really interested in mental health and mental health stigma, and the idea that actually drug use, it's not always a lifestyle choice, and also it's sometimes a kind of a symptom of somebody struggling with something else. So I found it really interesting that the media always sort of hone in on drug addict, rock and roll lifestyle, all of that kind of stuff, and it just feels a little bit unfair. And then the other thing, the sort of the parallel with that's the headline. That's the headline we see, but there's so much more going on behind the scenes. And also with rock stars, we don't know them. We know their art. We like to think we know them, but we don't know them. And I think similarly with our own mental health problems, and certainly with mine over the years, when I was really young and I had my first panic attack, I basically, I thought I had deep vein thrombosis. I had a funny little mark on my arm, not a symptom of DVT, but I was 15, I was smoking, I was on the pill, and so probably some kind of teenage shame brought about this anxiety, and I had this panic attack. And of course, the headline I told myself was DVT. And many years later, I was going to the doctors with things like palpitations, or my throat closing up, or all sorts of things. And then, of course, the health anxieties like cancer or heart attacks, or anything. So they were my headlines that I told myself. But what was really going on, I had to kind of delve a bit deeper and have a look. And what was really going on was generalised anxiety disorder and health anxiety. So I kind of thought there was a sort of a parallel there with, the media, headlines, rock stars. We get this image, this idea of them from a headline, versus what is really going on similarly with us. When we start chatting to our counsellor, different things come to light. We start to discover for ourselves what is really going on. So that was what I found really interesting. However, in writing about the death of Kurt Cobain, there was a little bit inside me that thought, somebody is going to take this the wrong way. Somebody is going to think, because I've called my book The 27 Club, that I'm all over that narrative, that I totally, that's what I believe in, the 27 Club, that, it's this number and that's why people die, and they're rock stars, and, obviously live this rock star lifestyle, and that's the reason for it. And interestingly enough, that did come up on Twitter last night, and I wanted to address it because, well, I was actually called a whore, which was interesting. I don't think I've been called a whore before, but I was called a whore because I was apparently profiting off the back of someone's death and romanticising someone's death. And I find it interesting for two reasons. First of all, well, romanticising someone's death, I mean, that's the kind of the whole point of the book, is that, you know, it's not this magical, mysterious number. It's not this aspirational lifestyle that we all want to live, because when you look at Kurt Cobain's life, as much as we know about it, we know that he struggled with drugs, but he also struggled with fame. He also struggled with really severe stomach problems. So, you know, the whole 27 Club idea to me is just this headline, and there's so much more to it, but we can't claim to know Kurt Cobain. Anyway, I'm rambling, which I thought I would do because I have no prompts or script or anything. So yeah, I'm not romanticising it. I'm trying to pick apart this idea that 27 is this magical number, and going to the other point, I suppose, which is where the idea of me being a whore came from, and profiting off the back. I find it really interesting. The last thing I would want to do is say who said this and generate some kind of Twitter pile-on or anything, because I just think probably quite a few people might think this, and I thought it was a topic worth exploring. So, profiting off the back of someone's death. Well, I'm interested in that because many years ago, when I worked for Lamplight Arts Centre in Stanley in County Durham, we had a show on by Open Clasp Theatre Company. They're an absolutely amazing all-female theatre company, and what they do is they explore social issues in depth. They do it really responsibly and authentically. They work with women's groups. So perhaps what they're most famous for is Key Change, which went out, I hope I've got the name right, which went out actually to New York. And it was about women in prison and the experiences that led to many women ending up in prison and being separated from their children. And this theatre company, they've explored many issues. They've explored drug use, they've explored all sorts of things, but as I say, always with a female focus. And after they'd been to our venue, I remember there being a review in the Northern Echo that was really, really cutting. And the reason it was really cutting was because the reviewer said that it was absolutely awful that this theatre company were profiting off the back of society's problems. And so there again we have it. I mean, first of all, Open Clasp Theatre is a charity, so nobody's profiting off the back of them. But secondly, how else are we going to challenge stigma and discrimination? How else are we going to get issues out there into the open? How else are we going to get things heard? Because back to the same point, headlines only tell us so much. We need to see the humanity, and through the arts we can see the humanity. And you know, they're plays that are based on real life experiences, but I think, if I'm right, often the full story is a fictional piece, but with lots of kind of real life experience thrown into it. And similarly, that's what I was trying to do with the 27 Club. It's not my story. Well, it's my story. I wrote it. It's not my memoir. It's not my autobiography. But I've used my experiences of anxiety and panic. I've used my experiences of working in and with the media, and my real interest in media. And I've tried to tell a story through that, and it's a fictional story, but I hope it's one that will resonate with lots of people, and that I hope it will encourage us to be kinder to people who are in the public eye, to look beyond the headlines, to consider first and foremost that, you know, what we read in the headlines is probably, you can see it with the whole Meghan Markle thing at the minute. People do just take it at face value, you know, everything that's going on in the media. And I think it's only right that she and Prince Harry, if I can still say that, respond to these headlines. So that's what I'm trying to do, is offer a different perspective. It's not a perspective where I'm saying, I know what Kurt Cobain was like. I've never met him. I haven't come anywhere close. I'm not a music expert either. I can't tell you what all of his songs are about. But I was a big fan, and I consumed this whole tortured rock star stuff, and you know, the headlines about drug use and and I think that that's interesting. Sorry, I'm getting pins and needles by sitting on my feet. Funnily enough, that was another thing I went to the counsellor about, because I thought there was something physically wrong with me. Anyway, I digress. Where was I? So Kurt Cobain, Nirvana. So more recently, when we look at how Amy Winehouse was treated, she was treated absolutely terribly by the media. And I think what's interesting is that we become kind of obsessed with this. We kind of cheer on this rock star lifestyle. We like this bad behaviour. Because it makes the headlines, because it gives us something to talk about. It gives us something to gossip about. It's interesting, but it's grotesquely interesting. And the problem is, I think, is that when somebody is heading down that path, and we are enabling somebody to keep going down that path, and we keep lapping it up, so there's no reason for anyone around these stars to stop them from doing it, other than obviously true, close, loved ones. But, you know, the media, the public, lap it all up. So it gets worse and worse, because the person gets more and more and more and more unwell, and this is all played out. And then eventually we see the ugly side of mental illness, and we don't like it, and we turn our noses up. And then, you know, right at the end, there's all these horrible headlines and people saying, you know, oh, Amy Winehouse, that performance, what a disgrace, But we've played a part in pushing her and pushing her and pushing her to this point. And then the only way these stars seem able to redeem themselves is through death. And I just think that is awful. And so, yes, I've written a book about celebrity rock star death, but I really hope that it's going to do something else as well. And I think, you know, I do a lot of work with particularly Coronation Street at the minute on mental health and addiction storylines, and trying to make it accurate. And one of the things I always say in that is that if there is a scene where stigma is apparent, that is okay as long as it's challenged. So, you know, if somebody were to call, if you watch Coronation Street, you'll know who these characters are, but if not, don't worry. But Peter Barlow has struggled with alcoholism for many, many years. He's a character in Coronation Street. And if someone were to call him a useless lying drunk, or I don't know, whatever they want to call him, and, you know, distrust him constantly because of these things, or say he's hopeless, helpless, you know, all of these things, then in some ways I think that's fine, because stigma exists. Stigma does exist in society. So, you know, we've got to show that, because not only do we need to show the impact of mental health problems, and, you know, use it to sort of campaign for more services or to get people to reach out for help, etc. We also need to show the impact of stigma to make people think twice. And that is what I am trying to do with the book. And that's what I will try to do with all my writing, because I want to write, I enjoy writing, and I hope I'm all right at it. And I will always use it to tackle stigma and to explore issues. And I think any Nirvana fans who think it's insensitive of me, I really hope you read the book first and foremost. And I also want to think back to how musicians explore these topics as well. Because Nirvana, for example, well, they sang about Frances Farmer, didn't they? Same thing. So, yeah. There's my rant. That's my Sunday morning rant, my first ever vlog. And I hope it's okay, because I've spent ages doing it now and I can't ramble all of this again. So, right, I'll turn it off. Thank you. Bye.